Hello everyone, and this is the Yu-Gi-Oh edition of the Big Bizzle Show. Alright, now we are talking about the ban list that Shriek revealed. We're going to talk about why they were hit and pros and cons. So we can start with the forbidden cards. Sangan. I guess they decided that Tour Guide wasn't the threat Sangan was, and they were right because Sangan gets so many pluses. Like, you can go, oh, you kill my Sangan, I will go get Battle Fate or anything that can help save you the game or win you the game. Sangan's just too good for the current format. Wind Up Sin Mighty. Yeah, kind of a surprise to me, but I mean, it makes sense. I mean, even if they did do what they did in the restriction list, which we'll get to in a minute, Sin Mighty would just still make wind-ups too good. Alright, those are the cards that are banned. The restricted cards, restrictions, to 1. Wind-up Magician. Well, some people are debating if Magician or Shark is the heart of the deck. Well, Magician allows you to go get Shark. Yeah, Magician to go get Shark. That's why they hit Magician. They took it to 1. Me personally, I was hoping they'd hit Shark and Magician, but I guess if you have one Magician and no Zen Mighty, what are you worried about? 1 day apiece to 1. The card, it makes sense. The card's too good. We both get to draw a card, plus you can't kill me on this turn. It makes every deck, if you run, it makes Gishkis go retarded. I mean, I've been test playing with 1 day apiece and Hazy Flames, and it just helps. Especially when you don't have what you need and you be like, 1 day apiece? Draw a card? Oh, got what I need. Yay! Solemn Warning to 1. There's not much I can really say about that. There's really not much. Instead of Solemn Trio, now we have Solemn Duo. Semi-restricted cards. Tsukiyomi at 2. I don't see why they didn't just take it up to 3. I mean, it's not doing anything. It probably won't do anything. I mean, it's a good prophecy tech, but besides that, no one really cares. Thunder King Ryo at 2. I don't see why. Well, I guess because most of the players, like most of the really good decks, the decks that are topping, are constantly searching and everything, and they're wanting people to quit controlling and start being aggressive, I guess. Can't really. I mean, there's the pros and cons to it. Yes, other decks can run you over, but also if you get it, it's good for you. Advanced Ritual Art. I used to use this card back in the day when Demise was good, before Priority. I mean, there's probably some decks that can run it now. I mean, Agents could probably make it happen with that little ritual card that they use. Some kind of purity light thing, I can't remember. It's been forever since I've seen any rituals being played. Besides Gishkis. Alright, now, no longer restricted. Spore. I mean, since you can only use it once per duel, I guess that's fine to take it to 3. Black Feather Colute the Moonshadow. Yeah. Keep it honest at 1, but bring Colute up to 3. Well, then again, honest hits all light monsters. Colute only hits Black Wings. Makes sense. Makes a lot of sense. Lumina at 3. Light Rays, Light Sworn, Chaos Dragons just got a major boost. She and Smoke Signal to 3. This is where I got one problem. Okay, if you're gonna bring Smoke Signal up to 3, Why not just take Gateway out of the picture? You just gave 6 Samurais 4 rotas. I would think it was better at 3 rotas, but you give them 4. I can't really complain, you know, it's just one of those things that we just have to work around. Mind Crush to 3. Yeah, good sideboard option to 3 now. So now you can run 3 Mind Crushes in the side. The only time Mind Crush really ain't that great is against Dark Worlds, where they can go, oh, I'll get Grapha to hand, oh, I'll hit Grapha, activate Grapha effect. I mean, it's good during your turn, because if you're a macro player and you have the macro face down and they have the Grapha in hand, and you know it, just say Grapha, chain, Mind Crush. Wait, Grapha, Mind Crush, chain, macro. So that way macro doesn't affect him, then Grapha doesn't go to the graveyard, he just vanishes. So I mean, Dino Rabbit players are going to be really happy about that. I know I'm kind of happy about this list, but I'm also kind of borderline around it. I'm one of the most balanced lists I've seen in a while. That's about all I can say about it. In other Yu-Gi-Oh news, what about them? What about them Fire Fists? Yeah, them Fire Fists. I'm gonna go on the Wikia, and we're gonna talk about them Fire Fists, because the Fire Fists are what they are, Fire Fists. And they also have Burning Knucklers coming out soon. Yeah. What is it with these guys and having fiery hands that make them so good? Me personally, I'm a Hazy Flame player. I like them Fiery Beasts. Fiery Beast all day. All day. Yeah, yeah. Hazy Flames. No, we're gonna talk about Hazy Flames. Fuck, screw the Fire Fist, man. They ain't really worth talking about. Because people always underestimate the Hazy Flames, and they're just retarded. I mean, once you pop off, if it's done right, you can have 3 level 6s on the first turn and have Basilatrice at freaking 3,100 attack, I'm pretty sure. Alright, let's see. Hazies. I'm on Dueling Network. Alright, this is my Hazy Flame deck list. It's pretty fast and pretty consistent, even though I don't run dualities. But then again, I run 3 of the most important cards in the deck, so... I got 2 Fire Dogs and 1 Magician. Flamewheel Fire Dogs and Flamewheel Magician. Fire Dog destroys a monster, go get a 200 or less defense monster, and special summon it from the deck. Flamewheel Magician, tuner, 1400, 200 defense, not too bad. 2 Gokas, Pyro Malice. Pretty much, I can special summon him, destroy a monster, get tokens during the standby phase. He combos well with Cerebrus, which is, you can normal summon it without tributing, but its original attack becomes 1,000. And if he would be targeted by, he can't be targeted by opponent's card effects. Basically, if you play Magic, he has hexproof, which is really, really good in Yu-Gi-Oh, but also not that great either. When it's destroyed and sent to the graveyard, you can add 1 Hazy card from your deck to your hand. So Goka, you go turn 1 Pillar, normal summon Cerebrus, or you can just normal summon him without using Pillar. Either way, you go special summon Goka, destroy Cerebrus, get any haste card. Most likely, if you're going for anything, you're going for either Pillar or Glory for that second turn setup. But yeah, I have Cerebrus at 3, Goka at 2. I have 3 Griffins. He's the Cyber Dragon of the Hazy Flames. Special summon and defense. Normal summon. Overlay. Easy photon strike bouncer. 2 Hippogriff. Mostly so I can get it with Flame Dog. Fire Dog here. It's a... Give me a moment, my internet's kind of laggy. 2100 attack, 200 defense, 6 drop fire, pyro. Your opponent cannot target this card with card effects. Once per turn you contribute 1 fire monster you control. This card gains 300 attack. So basically you contribute something like Manticore, or like not Hazy Flame Manticore, Manticore Darkness. Or you can sacrifice a Griffin, you special summon, you know. Gets 300 attack, allows you to go in for games sometimes. Double, those are 2 ofs. Double Manticore. Your opponent, it's same generic 6 drop. It's a wing beast. I thought it would be a beast by the look of the picture, but it's a wing beast. 2200 attack, 300 defense, almost there to being broken. Only 100 defense less. Why couldn't they make it 200 defense? It would have been so good. Your opponent cannot target this card with card effects. All the Hazy Flames all the Hazy Flames have that one ability, hexproof. Once per turn, during either player's turn, you can send 1 fire monster except this card from your hand or face up on your side of the field to the graveyard. This card cannot be destroyed by card effects this turn. I think it would be better if it said either. Oh yeah, it says either player's turn. So you can be like, I have Manticore. I got something, you know, like I got Manticore and Manticore. Manticore of Darkness and Hazy Flame Manticore be like, alright, what you got? Dark Hole. I'll sack Manticore Darkness. Indestructible, basically. Come at me, bro. Three Patron. You're the most broken card in the deck. Minus Cerebrus, this is the most broken card in the deck. I have 3 of it. That's why it's so broken. Alright, cannot be special summoned except by Hazy Flame Monster's effects. Fair enough. I mean, when you hear what this card does, it's good to have that drawback. Your opponent cannot target this card with card effects. You can send 1 fire monster from your hand to the graveyard and tribute this card to special summon 2 Hazy Flame monsters from your deck. You can only use this effect of Hazy Flame Patron once per turn. Basically, this guy says, sack myself, discard Manticore of Darkness, get 2 dudes, overlay on first turn. 9 times out of 10. The only thing you can't do, I mean, you can get Cerebrus and go for Goka, or you can, there's like a lot of combos you can do with this guy, which makes him very, very good in the deck. 2 Sphinx, Hazy Flame Sphinx. Your opponent cannot target this, hexproof, yay! You can consider 1 type, monster, spell, or trap. Basically mill the card to the graveyard. Physical or type, you can special 1 fire monster from your hand or graveyard. You can only use this effect of Hazy Flame Sphinx once per turn. 9 times out of 10, you're going to go from the graveyard. This is a really good follow-up. It's a really good follow-up play with Patron, because then you can just do Patron again. And it's also, that's basically the best time to play her is like right after Patron, like turn after Patron effect, so you can go, oh, I'll get 2 more guys, triple overlay the Facilitrice and pwn you. 2 Manticore of Darkness. I'm thinking about cutting some Hippogriffs for 1 more Manticore of Darkness and probably another Goka, because it's just too good. But I've been just test playing the Hippogriffs and they do their part too. And that's the monster lineup for Hazy Flames. Now we have the spell lineup. 1 Dark Hole, you know, 1 of each big 3. Heavy Storm, Monster Reborn, Dark Hole. Oh. Nukes all day. 3 Pillars, Hazy Pillars. La da da da. It says you can normal summon 1 Hazy Flame monster with 1 less tribute. Basically, just normal summon it, like they're 4 stars, all day. You can target 1 XYZ monster you control, attach 1 Hazy Flame monster to your from your hand or your side of the field to that XYZ monster as an XYZ material. Once you hear the extra deck, you will see how retarded this deck can get. Alright. 2 Onslaught of the Fire King. I run those to get Cerebrus out. It's basically turbo. It allows speed to the deck, so I can go Onslaught, Cerebrus, blow it up, get something. 1 Pot of Avarice, because a lot of these guys, it's so often they go to the graveyard and I start running out of fuel, so I use Pot of Avarice to basically keep it going. It's almost like a gas stop type thing. 2 Compulse. I like Bottomless, which I run in the deck as well, but Compulse deals with the XYZs, deals with the Stardust, which I have to deal with a lot in locals. I have a Dragunity player that like all day Stardust, so I have to run Compulses to get rid of that. 3 Haze Glories. For those of you who do not know what this card does, you can normal summon it. Basically, it's just like Pillar, where you can play them as if they were 4 drops, like 4-star. You can send this face-up card from the field to the graveyard. Target 1 hazy card in your graveyard except for Haze Glory, and add that target to your hand. So in other words, it's Pillar, but it allows you to get back Pillar. Like you can activate it at the end of the opponent's turn, where if you have Pillar in the graveyard, be like, I'll activate Haze Glory. They don't have a response. Sack it to get Pillar. Play Pillar on your next turn. Commence to kick butt. 2 Horn of the Phantom Beast. So old school, but so good. It says target 1 beast warrior type monster you control. Equip this card to that target. It gains 800 attack, and when that target destroys an opponent's monster by battle, it sends it to the graveyard. Draw a card. So you're like, I have Cerebrus or Sphinx or Manticore, or also Flamevale Fire Dog. Those are the targets. Well, they attack into one of these guys that you need to keep on the field. You don't really care about Manticore dying. Well, actually, you kind of do sometimes, but he can take care of himself. But if there's a problematic creature that's attacking, you can go Horn of the Phantom Beast, kill it, draw a card. It's so helpful, and it saved my butt a lot of times. Y'all just don't know. Y'all just don't know. Like, there was this one time I was playing against my friend Jerry. He's the guy that runs Dragunity. He was like, I'll attack into your Sphinx first with Stardust, and I'm like, okay, Horn of the Phantom Beast. They couldn't do anything. They were like, oh my god. He was like, oh my god, you just screwed me up. And last but not least, 2 Bottomless Trap Holes. Deals with them beast sticks. Also good for if I'm going against a deck that's faster than mine, which there are 1 or 2 that are faster than mine. 6 Sams, which is true now and will be even more true once the ban list hits. Wind-ups won't be as much of a problem anymore, but they used to be. And then you have, I don't really worry about Merle Lantians that much because they can't target my stuff. So it's like, type thing, you know what I mean? Sideboard 2 Effect Veilers. Most Yu-Gi-Oh players know what this does, most Magic players don't, so I'm going to explain for those Magic players. During your opponent's main phase, you can send this card from your hand to the graveyard to target 1 face-up effect monster your opponent controls, negate the target's effect to the end phase. It helps deal with problematic cards that they can activate during their turn, like BLS. In Gishgies, it would deal with Gigas and stuff like that, because you don't want those cards to activate. That's why I chose to put it in the side deck for a little bit more stun capability. Also in the sideboard's Maxi, just in case I run into that random 6 Samurai or wind-up player, or heck, even Rabbit players. Maxi, draw a bunch of cards. I run 1 Mind Control, because it's at 1. If it was at 2, I'd run 2. Target 1 monster your opponent controls to the end phase, take control of that target, but I cannot declare an attack or be attributed. I'll just overlay with the fucker, I don't care. That's basically how I look at it. Oh, you've got a level 6. I will take over that motherfucker. Just take it all over. Alright, now, on with the sideboard. 2 MSTs for the macro players, and for Dark Worlds, because I don't like dealing with them. 2 Black Horned Heaven. When your opponent would special summon a monster, negate the special summon, and if you do, destroy it. I like it better than Solemn Warning. No cost, and it's still a counter trap. 2 Starlight Road. Within Stardust Sun, and 2 summon limit, because I have a limited amount of times that I can summon. I can special summon two times maybe a turn. So it's perfect for me, but not so good for my opponent, because they're like, well, great, now I can only do so much, when I can still do everything I need to do. There's 2 slots missing in the sideboard. I haven't figured out what they're going to be yet. With the current ban list, I'm kind of thinking Mind Crush as a possibility. Maybe sideboard Pot of Dualities for more consistency if I need it, which seems a lot better actually. Or I was also thinking about, yeah, Pot of Duality sounds pretty good. So I'm going to sideboard those. So you can add 2 Pot of Dualities to the sideboard, just in case I have them consistency issues, just like every deck does. I have to say, the one thing I have to say that's a problematic with Yu-Gi-Oh is consistency. That's one thing that Magic has over Yu-Gi-Oh is that they have most of their decks are built to be consistent, where Yu-Gi-Oh is not so much. Extra deck, 1 Catastor. The trick to busting out Catastor in just this deck is have Goka live long enough to be able to make the token, then Magician into Catastor. My level 8s are Black Winged Dragon. Basically, he says, notice Chain Burn. Colossal Fighter for the E-Hero matchup. Crimson Blader. If you don't know what he does, if this card destroys an opponent's monster by battle, it sends it to the graveyard. Your opponent cannot normal or special summon level 5 or higher monsters during their next turn, which basically stops most. It's basically for the how do people put it? For the identical matchup, if I'm playing against my own deck, or a deck like mine, like, Mermails, another Hazy Flame deck, stuff like that, stops them in their tracks. If I can hit them with destroy a monster with Crimson Blader, stops them in their tracks. It's so good. Red Dragon Archfiend, basically blow up them defense. Another world destruction that allows me to attack over Stardust, so I can do it. So it's really, really good. But speaking of Stardust, them White Dragons. Stardust basically negates anything that would destroy stuff. So basically, if I'm going against my opponent, he plays Dark Hole or Heavy Storm, I say no. And Bottomless is kind of funny with Stardust, because you'd be like, Stardust hits the field, they're like, Bottomless, and you're like, no. And it also, I think it works with Thunder King too. Let's check. I think Thunder King can only do inherit summons. During either player's turn, let's see. Thunder King Riot. Either player can add cards from their deck to their hand. Yada. During either player's turn, your opponent will special summon a monster. You can send this face up. It works with Starlight Road, but it won't work if I synchro. So basically, well, no, it says negate and then destroy. So yeah, it would hit Stardust. It would get Stardust hurt. And the way you can tell is by the wording of the card. If it says negate then destroy, then technically Stardust would be negated then destroyed. So Stardust would not be able to do anything to that. Alright, on with the extra deck. Thought Ruler Archfiend. He's a nice little trick up my sleeve. You know, if it destroys a monster by battle, gain life points equal to that monster's original attack. I can also pay 1,000 life points to negate the activation of a spell or trap card that targets one psychic monster and destroy it. So, basically, D-Prison, Book of Moon, stuff like that. Thought Ruler will say no. Now, those are the synchros. Now it's time for the Exceeds. 2 Bacillitrice. People run 3, but I like 2 because it gives me more breathing room in the extra deck. Once per turn, you can detach one XYZ material card from this card, target one monster your opponent controls, or in their graveyard, and banish the target. This card gains effects based on the number of XYZ monsters attached to it. Most common deception is that means that many or more. So basically, since people didn't understand it, they had to put or more on Bacillitrice to make them understand this. Alright. 3 more. Gains 200 attack and defense for each XYZ material attached to it. It's normally 25, so once you get to 3, it becomes a 31. 4 or more. This card cannot be targeted by your opponent's card effects. So once you get to 4, it says, well, now I'm a 30... what? 3. 33 can't be targeted. Hexproof all day. 5 or more. Can't be destroyed by card effects. Once you get to 5... it should be game over anyways, but I guess they had to put a little bit of overkill in it if you have to go to 5. You know what I'm saying? Just a little bit of overkill. And alright, now we're going to the next one. Number 25, Force Focus. It's a fun little card. I get cussed at for bringing it out all the time. It requires 2 level 6. Bacillitrice requires 2 or more, which means you can do like a triple overlay with Bacillitrice. Thought I'd throw that in there. Force Focus, number 25. 2 level 6 monsters. Once per turn during the player's turn, you can attach one XYZ material from this card to target one level 5 or higher effect monster your opponent controls. Negate the effects of that opponent's face-up monster until the end of the turn. So basically, negating a lot of stuff that can be problematic, like Stardust, if you plan on blowing up the board, or destroying something, or the Catastrophe if you need to get over it. You know, it's a very useful card. Very useful and very helpful in some situations. Now, 2 Photon Strike Bouncer. Most Hates Flames run this card because he's good. I like him because he helps me control when I need to control the monster effects, or to be able to do much of anything. Once per turn during either player's turn, when a monster effect is activated on your opponent's side of the field, you can detach one XYZ material from this card, negate that effect. If you do, inflict 1,000 damage to your opponent. Now, I've been running into problems with a card that I run in my deck that I never really understood. And I never had the ability for anybody to answer the question, because we don't have judges at our locals. We have the card shop owners basically run the tournament. If you have questions, you ask somebody else. Somebody who's up on that tier, basically. Well, the question is, if you attack with any monster, doesn't matter what, and Catastrophe's attack is activated, can you activate Photon Strike Bouncer's effect in chain to negate? Because it says when the monster effect is activated. Catastrophe says, at the start of the damage step, when this card battles a non-dark monster, destroy that target immediately. Now, does that mean that Catastrophe's effect is... can you Photon Strike Bouncer when the conditions are right? Because I've had to deal with it on my side of the field, and my opponent's had to deal with it on his side of the field at one time. If you can answer that, post on the comments. Be very helpful. Just saying. And the last monster on my little list is Swordbreaker. He is so much fun. He requires 2 level 6 monsters. Once per turn, you can attach an XYZ material from this card to declare one monster type. This card gains gains the following effect. At the start of the damage step, if this card battles a monster of a type that has been declared, destroy that monster. It's very helpful when dealing with cards like Spirit Reaper, cards like that. It's basically Cataster, but you have to get rid of material. Most people see a negative in this. I run Hazy Flame. There's no such thing as negging yourself, because you can be like, oh, I'm going to get rid of something, attack, go in my battle phase, attack, put said Hazy Flame that's on the standby into said Exceed, and then have the ability to do it again. That's the whole point of Hazy Flame, is to constantly recycle the materials. Alright. I guess the next deck, this deck is more for the next format that I'm currently working on. I call it SDS, Skill Drain Stun. The whole point of the deck is to use Skill Drain to the fullest and to stun my opponent a lot. No, this deck does not run Thunder King because I don't like Thunder King in this deck. I have to be able to search and draw. Alright. Starter list is 2 Beast King Barbaros. If you don't know him, he's pretty much a 3k beat stick if you have Skill Drain on the field. Not too bad. You know, it's pretty awesome. 2 effect mailers for the stun ability. 2 Fusilier Dragon, the Dual Mode Beast. Another Barbaros type card. You know, but it's the thing that makes Skill Drain so good with these cards is that they don't lose their attacks. Like, Beast King Barbaros would still be a beat 3k. Dual Mode Dragon's still a 28k, or 2800. So it's like beaten to the face all day. 3 Malefic Cyber End Dragons. Again, if I have Skill Drain active, no negatives, so they won't be destroyed if I don't have a field spell. And 9 times out of 10, if I bust out a Malefic, I'm going for game anyways. 2 Malefic Rainbow Dragons. Same thing. If I bust out a Malefic, I'm going for game. 2 Malefic Stardust Dragons. Again, with going for game. 2 Maxis to be able to draw. If I don't have Skill Drain in my opening hand and I have the ability to have game, I'll let my opponent go ahead and do his turn, and then I just Maxi if they're planning on special summoning draw cards. Kind of type thing, you know what I mean? 3 Rainbow Dragon, so that way I have Malefic Rainbow possible. Now we're going into the spells. Yeah, I'd run like 18 creatures in this deck. It's kind of weird. 1 Dark Hole, you know, each of the big 3 for big bombs. 2 Forbidden Lance for them oh shit moments, basically. 2 MSTs, kind of, you know, self-explanatory. 2 Shrinks. Sometimes they can get over Barbaros or my dragons, so I'll just shrink their guys. Nice little ninja trick. 2 trade-ins for draw power. I'd rather run them than Pod of Duality because I can still special summon, and I get to draw 2 cards by discarding 1 level 8. So it's not too bad. Now we're going to go into the traps. 2 Bottomless Trap Hole, 2 Compulse, 2 Mirror Force. Mirror Force, when your opponent's monsters declares an attack, destroy all attack position monsters your opponent's control. Board destruction. Except for I don't have to worry about my board being blown up, which is pretty nice. 3 Skill Drain. Activate by paying 1,000 life points. The effect of all face-up monsters on the field are negated. Those monsters who are face-up on the field... hold on. Effects of all face-up monsters on the field are negated, while those monsters are on the face-up on the field, but their effects can still be activated. Basically, if you have a face-up monster, it's a normal monster from now on. Which means if they rabbit and I change skill drain, if they go for Logia, it's just a 2700 beat stick. It's that crazy. It takes precedence over every monster effect no matter what. Which means if you have a Jinzo and I activate skill drain before you can summon said Jinzo will not negate skill drain. Because skill drain is a static effect that takes precedence before the monster hits the field. Skill drain is also good against flip effect monsters because they have to be flipped face up before the effects can activate. And as it says, the effects of all face up monsters on the field are negated. At any given time when a monster is face up, the effect's negated no matter what. Just like DD is, I'm not sure about the DDs. I'm pretty sure that you can still activate their effects because they're graveyard effects. Just like Sangan's a graveyard effect. But that's, fine. I just worry about the effects face up on the field, like BLS, no. Stuff like that. Stuff that's very devastating, skill drain deals with. One Solemn Judgment and one Solemn Warning. This, like I said, this deck's getting ready for the next format. So, you gotta have some negation up in there, you know what I'm saying? I don't have a sideboard for this deck yet because I haven't been doing a lot of playtesting to figure out what I need. But it seems, the main deck seems legit. I just gotta find the sideboard. Extra deck is 3 Cyber Darks and 3 Stardust. So that way I have the ability to still pop them off. And I'm probably putting a Starlight Road in the sideboard. That's why I went up to 3 Stardust. I was going to go 2, but 3 sounded better, just in case I wanted to go that far. That's Malefics. Then I have my fun deck. This is a deck that I play that I've been test playing. Been seeing if I can make it close to top tier. It's beaten most of the top tier decks. It's beaten Wind-Ups. It's beaten Six Samurai. It's beaten a lot of decks. And before y'all start picking on this deck, I love this deck a lot. It took a lot of time and a lot of patience to build this deck. It doesn't need a sideboard. It doesn't need an extra deck. It just needs what it has, and it is fine on its own. This is a standalone deck. Alright, now let's get started. Fortune Ladies. As I was saying, Fortune Ladies. 2 Fortune Lady Dark. All Fortune Ladies have this one main ability that says this card's attack and defense are equal to the number of their levels times a certain 100 number. Fortune Lady Dark and Earth are both 400. They get 400 times the level. Fire is 2, Light is 2, Water is 3, Wind is 3. 1 for each element. I know, it's kind of funny. Fortune Lady Dark gets its level times 400. During each of your standby phases, increase the level by 1. Max 12. Okay, so it can become a grand total of 4,800. Pretty cool. When this is a face-up Fortune Lady monster you control destroys an opponent's monster by battle, it sends it to the graveyard. You can select and special summon 1 Fortune Lady monster from your graveyard. Constant Monster Reborn. So yeah, if she's on the field and a Fortune Lady destroys something, I get to bring one back. A lot of these monsters have pluses for being special summoned by a Fortune Lady effect, which makes her really good. Thumbs up on that. Fortune Lady Earth. This card in attack and defense are equal to its level times 400. During each of your standby phases, increases level by 1, max 12. When the level of this card increases, inflict 400 damage to your opponent. Now, I forgot to tell you what levels they start out at. Fortune Lady starts at a level 5. Well, Dark starts at level 5, Earth starts at level 6. So, Dark starts out at 2,000, Earth starts out at 24. Earth gets a constant burn effect, which makes her really, really good, and she's also very hard to deal with most monsters that start out. which makes her super ultra awesome, as Abridged would say. Fortune Lady Fire. Its attack and defense are equal to its level times 2. It starts out at 400 because it's a level 2. During each of your standby phases, increases level by 1, max 12, which means it could be 24. Yeah, kind of weak. For most people would think, oh, that's kind of weak. Wait until you hear this. When this card is special summoned in attack position by an effect of a Fortune Lady, destroy one face-up monster on your opponent's side of the field, and inflict damage to your opponent equal to that monster's attack. So, Dark activates, special summon fire in attack mode, destroy your monster, you take the life points. Yeah, Ring of Destruction on a card. Very good in my opinion. 3 of those, 3 Fortune Lady Light, the card that makes the deck run. It's too good. When this card attack and defense are equal to its level times 200, again, it has basically the Fortune Lady staple effects, okay? When this card is removed from the field by a card effect, that means sent to the graveyard, removed from play, it doesn't matter. As long as it's gone, it's gone. Sort of like Stangan. Gone to anywhere. You can special summon one Fortune Lady monster from your deck. So you can go for fire, you can go for water, you can go for, it doesn't matter which one, you can go for it. Fortune Lady, and she's at level 1. So she starts out at 200 attack and defense, but her effect's freaking ridiculous. Fortune Lady Water. Attack and defense is up by 300. Starts out at level 4, so she's at 1200. She can get a level each of the standby phases, max 12. When this card is special summoned, while you control a face-up Fortune Lady monster, except for Fortune Lady Water, you get to draw 2 cards. So basically, if you attack with Dark, you minus your opponent 1, you up yourself by 3, which makes Fortune Lady Water ridiculous. 3 Fortune Lady Wind. Her attack and defense is equal to its level times 300. So basically, she starts out at a 9 because she's level 3. You can increase her level by 1, max 12. When this card is normal summoned, you can destroy a number of spell or trap cards your opponent controls equal to the number of face-up Fortune Lady monsters you control. She is a Stratos, but the better effect. You've already got enough tutors in the deck. With light, you run 3 lights, that's all the tutors you'll ever need. Wind says destroy stuff. So basically you're running, in a sense, 6 Stratos. Next monster on the list is Magician's Valkyria, most underrated card in the game. She is a marauding captain effect for spellcasters. So if you have 2 of her on the field and you have Earth on the field, they have to deal with Valkyrias before they can deal with Earth, which makes her really, really good, especially if you're trying to get that last 400 in. Spells, another 18 monster deck, by the way. 1 Dark Hole, 1 of the big 3, big bombs. 2 Fortune's Future. Select one of your remove from play Fortune Lady monsters and return them to the graveyard, then draw 2. There's a card in this deck called Slip of Fortune. I'll remove from play Light, get her effect, special summon a lady. Fortune's Future, put Light into the graveyard, draw 2. Not too bad, because that means you've got a grand total of 5 draw spells in the deck. 2 Magical Dimension. Pretty self-explanatory. If I control a face-up spellcaster, I can target 1 monster I control, tribute it, special summon 1, and then I can destroy a monster on my opponent's side of the field. So basically, it's 2 for you get -1, I get +1, so it's kind of an even card. 1 Pot of Avarice, again, it can thin out easily, so I have to have the ability to shuffle and draw. It's pretty nice. 3 Secret Village of the Spellcasters, very old school type spellcaster card. It's really, really good. If you control a spellcaster type monster and your opponent does not, your opponent cannot activate spell cards. In other words, if I control spellcaster and you don't, no Dark Hole. The only time this card sucks is against prophecies. But that's okay. If you control no spellcaster type monsters, you cannot activate spell cards. Kind of hard to do that when you have nothing but spellcasters in your deck. 2 terraforming, search out Secret Village because it's a field spell. 2 times passage. Basically, I can increase the level of 1 face-up Fortune Lady monster I control by 3 until the end phase. So if they go after Dark, or they go after, or if any of them, if someone attempts to kill one of them, I can up it by level by 3, boost it by however much it gets boosted, and kill the monster. One of the funny moments was when Catastrophe went after Dark, and then I upped its level by 3. And it was already a level 6. It was a 22, and he was trying to suicide, and I upped it by 3, making it a 28. Killed his monster, special summoned fire, destroyed his face down, and he was kind of mad about that. But that was okay. 2 inherited fortune. Activate only during the turn a face-up Fortune Lady monster you control was destroyed. Special summon up to 2 Fortune Lady monsters from your hand during your next standby phase. So you're like, okay, well, you destroyed Light. I'll special summon 2. It's really good if you have an Earth and a Dark in hand, because you're like, boom, boom. At least 2k guys, beat you in the face. Magician's Circle. When a spellcast type monster declares an attack, each player special summons 1 spellcast type monster with 2,000 or less attack from their deck and face-up attack position. Guess what, you guys? All Fortune Lady monsters count as 0 attack. So you can special summon any one of them you want. All the cards of every monster in this deck can be special summoned by Magician's Circle, which makes it retarded. And then Slip of Fortune. Activate only when your opponent's monster declares an attack targeting a monster. Negate the attack and remove from play the attack target monster until the standby phase. Sorry about that. Hold on for a second. Yeah, I've already explained what Slip of Fortune can do. Pretty much the lights. All the lights. But yeah, this is Big Bizzle, Yu-Gi-Oh! Edition. News, decks. If y'all want me to talk about a deck that y'all have built, send me a list on a PM on YouTube, or you can hit me up on Dolly Network, Toshiki_Kaiba. And that's about it. Y'all have a good day. Oh yeah, like, comment, and subscribe for more video content.